What's good, folks? It's Warframe here with a new Warframe video, taking a look at the new Eximus Rework, and to inform you guys how it's going to be one of the best fight encounters you will have in any mission. Currently, Eximus units are a joke. They're pretty much just fodder enemy units. Okay, they're basically slightly tankier and annoying versions of your regular enemy units. Energy Leech Eximus, they literally blend in. The only time you realize that there's a Leech Eximus is when your energy starts to drain and you're like, who is doing this? And it's some dude from across the map. And with this video, I'll be reading over the patch notes, taking a look at the video, and giving you some advice on how to deal with these enemies when you encounter them.
The Eximus Reborn has two main objectives. The first one being amplifying their threat in combat, while also adding some justifiable rewards.
Okay, I get the amplifying part, but rewards, let's see. Are they going to be like acolytes, giving us steel essence, or what, more resources?
And also overhauling their visual and audio cues, so you know exactly what type of Eximus
That's what I love.
you're up against. So let's start with that first objective of amplifying their threat. Currently, we have a wide pool of Eximus unit types, but not all of them are actually identifiable in battle.
True. Remember what I said, how they just blend in with your regular enemy units? Well, yeah.
So we are introducing a more universal Eximus resistance and also tweaking the way that their health, armor, and shields will scale.
I've talked about this a lot in my previous streams where I was saying we need a threat. Some sort of like field boss or elite unit that's actually a threat. A bit different than this, but more in the terms of if you use your guns a lot, you kill enemy with guns, you'll have an enemy that's resistant or adapts to your gunfire. And you have to take him out with melee or other forms of damage, like your Warframe abilities, etc. Basically, you'll have a unit with some homeboys coming at you, and they're adaptive to your style of killing. So you're just a Brahma Andy. Well, these guys, they'll have some sort of adaptation to your attacks. This is also pretty interesting as well.
Making them more of a formidable adversary. Introducing Overguard. New health pool on top of their regular stats that must be removed before you can take down their health and shields. Overguard is an additive amount independent of the enemy's health and shield scaling and is indicated with a bar over top of their existing health and shields.
Okay.
While Overguard is active, it will keep Eximus units immune to Warframe crowd control abilities. Take out their Overguard, they become susceptible to crowd control again.
Warframe crowd control abilities. Now, I did read the patch notes, and they were saying, while Overguard is active, it will keep Eximus units immune to Warframe crowd control abilities, and anything that will stagger, knock down, stun, mind control, ragdoll, and blind. Additionally, Overguard enemies will be unaffected by radiation status effects. Oh, so pretty much like Demolists there. And will be susceptible to a maximum of 4 cold status effects. Because I was thinking, if they're immune to status effects, I mean, you can slow them down with cold procs. But I think that they thought ahead. They thought ahead. However, Overguard is particularly susceptible to void damage. Zata's Whisper? Zata's Whisper? Yep. Zata's Whisper? You don't have to use your amp if you got Zata's Whisper. You know what I'm saying? Which will overall improve the flow of synergy between Warframe and Operator, combat flow. This will encourage you to engage with them more interactively, as opposed to easily overpowering them with abilities alone, or just shooting at the floor with your Brahma or Czar. It should shift the focus of fighting Eximus units to using mixture of weapons and teamwork. I like this idea. I really like this idea. However, there's always a but, right? The way Warframe game modes are right now, this will feel slightly out of place. You get me? Especially for those who like to do endurance runs and high-level content. For regular content, this is just like, oh yeah, oh look, a new enemy. Oh, it's tanky. Oh no, help us. Yeah, I understand for those guys. But for the people who want to go a little extra, that's going to be quite interesting. Especially in Disruption, where they have Eximus Wave. If you don't know what that is, you will put in your key and activate a conduit, which has a modifier called Eximus Wave. You'll have a bunch of Eximus units, and if you fail, they will remain and continue to spawn more, which can be annoying. A little bit annoying. It's not a threat, but with the new Eximus Rework, oh my god, I wonder what will happen if you fail or even encounter that conduit. Overguard is an additive amount independent of enemies' health and shield scaling. Okay, so let's say you go into Steel Path. They already have health, armor, shield increase, and this Overguard will be additive to that. With the goal of making Eximus units more consistent in terms of difficulty, Overguard will scale by level. Ooh, but will be the same across all Eximus enemy types. Okay. Once an Eximus has their Overguard taken out, they'll be fully susceptible to crowd control abilities. Once taken out, Overguard does not regenerate. Okay. I mean, it would have been interesting making them like Destiny 2 champions. You know how Overload champions, you stun them. If you don't kill them in time, their health regenerates. I mean, I was thinking, I was prepared for that, but okay, they kind of killed it there. But it's all good, it's all good. If an Eximus with active Overguard is struck by a hound wielding a copied Eximus ability, it will strip the Eximus Overguard by 50%. So they're trying to make the useless hounds slightly useful, but nobody's going to use hounds. Overguard was introduced as a means to make Eximus units feel more formidable, which is good, while also providing Tenno a way to crush their defenses with some solid teamwork and concentrated firepower. I like that, I like that. Okay, with the addition of Overguard, we've updated the scope of which abilities are considered to be crowd control. Alright, note that these abilities will still do their intended damage. It is only the crowd control effect of the abilities that won't apply while Overguard is present. I'm not even looking at the list. I'm not looking at the list. I'm thinking, Ensnare, Gloom, Molecular Prime, Banshee's Sonic Boom. What else? What else? Lull from Baruch, Excalibur's blind thing. What is it called? Radial Blind. Mesa's Shooting Gallery with the augment. Oh my god. Silence. Are they gonna... Okay. Gloom. Gaze. Okay. Garuda Seeking Talons. Didn't really hear too much of that. Side of Hand. Prism. Ensnare. See, told you. Lull. Oh! Condemn. Ooh. The Batsu hits was Condemn. Rift and Cataclysm. Ooh. Yes, who cares? Mesmer Skin. Okay, this is not so bad. Reverence Reeve. Okay, Vara Sleep Arrow. Radial Blind. So they didn't mention anything about silence. Remember what I said about how silence is so good in Steel Path? How you can just nullify acolyte abilities and special effects, and it also works on Eximus units. Okay, here we go. Disabled by silence. Actively cast buffs and debuffs, Grenier regulators, corpus, blah, blah, blah. Actively cast shields, cast by Eximus units. Okay. All the ground slams, etc., etc. All of these are disabled by silence. What is immune? Range melee attacks, okay. Bombard homing rockets, well, it's not really an ability. It's passive auras by shield ospreys, ancient healers, aura, emitted by Eximus. Okay, so this will still be a thing, okay? I'm saying the strongest things right now for Eximus 2.0, 3.0, I don't know, the new Eximus rework thing, Zata's Whisper, and Silence. Oh yeah, those are like the big PP things that you got to be looking out for. Zata's Whisper, since it deals void damage and the void status effect, that's going to help you strip the Overguard pretty quickly. And Silence, disabling certain Eximus unit special attacks and abilities. I'm stupid. Look, Overguard and Banshee Silence. Hey, I was talking about Silence, but look at that. Banshee Silence will now negate any active Eximus abilities and let's go! I told you Silence is gonna be juicy. Guardian Eximus shields, their AoE, amazing. Note the friendly 90% damage reduction. Yeah, that's still the same. That's still the same as it is now, so it's all good. Overguard Ancient Healers. Currently, Ancient Healers provide 90% damage reduction to their allies in range and increased resistance to crowd control abilities, which is quite annoying back in the days, especially before Helmet System when I was doing Garuda endurance runs, especially in Mod Survival. Whenever you used your Blood Altar, it will be negated or nullified without a nullifier because of Ancient Healers. Whenever they're in range, they'll just disable your Blood Altar. It's quite annoying. Visually, this is only indicated by a pulsing glow on buffed enemies in range. Okay, this is often confusing if you don't already know that the crowd control resistance and damage reduction is applied from Ancient Healers. Yes. Usually they had some sort of green pulsating glow, which is also the same glow that they get when there's a little sentinel around. This is in the void. We have changed Ancient Healers to provide allies in range with Overguard. It is applied at 9 times their overall health. This value simply matches the current level of damage reduction and crowd control resistance provided by ancient healers. With Overguard, it will now provide a clear visual indicator that enemies are being boosted by their ancient ally. Slight difficulty in Warframe? Nani? Overguard can be taken out on enemies bolstered by ancient healers through a few different ways. Dealing damage to Overguard, okay. Killing the ancient healer providing the Overguard, which was what we usually did. Or if you just dealt so much damage to the ally that was being protected, you will return that damage to the ancient healer, drawing them out of range. Okay, currently any enemy that receives an Overguard buff from ancient healer is one time only. They cannot receive Overguard again when they're back in. Okay. Health, shield, and armor scaling. This is the big health, shields, and armor for Eximus now scale faster at higher levels. Damn. Let's have a little drink. Hydrate, ladies and gentlemen. Where it eventually flattens out and doesn't scale exponentially. Okay. Giving them a boost to their overall tankiness. Hopefully it's not too much of a bullet sponge, that can get annoying. And to make difficulty more consistent across enemy types. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Health, shields, and armor for Eximus now all scale faster at higher levels, up to a point where it will eventually flatten out. Our intent here is to give a slight boost to enemies like butchers more than heavy gunners, and
butchers
to make difficulty more consistent across.
This is the energy Leech Eximus. Why can't we see the little energy bar? I want to see what's happening. I want to see how much energy they drain. They say they drain a significant amount of energy. I want to see how much of that energy and how much energy they have modded on their Warframe.
Now we move on to our second objective of the Eximus Reborn, which is the visual and audio overhaul to all Eximus unit types.
Which we needed.
We're going to start with the Blitz Eximus unit. Currently, Blitz units use a shockwave knockdown.
Whoa, what? That's
now
cool.
They're going to summon a frontal chain blast attack by slamming their fist into the ground. This
Dude, do that again.
Is signaled with an audio cue and the effects of the oncoming blast erupting from below.
That almost looks like the sorcerer's ability in Lost Ark.
The Blitz units themselves are now also covered in a crackling energy effects.
Arcane Guardian? Why? No, don't judge.
Next up is Energy Leech or Parasitic Eximus units, depending on what faction you fight. Currently in game, they have an invisible aura that drains.
Is that a blast, Ignis?
Energy
Don't judge.
Now they're going to periodically spawn an Energy Leech zone. It's detonated within seconds and will drain a large amount of energy if not avoided.
Yeah, I can see that randomly shows up.
It's detonated within seconds.
I didn't even see the projectile.
And will drain a large amount of energy if not.
It just slowly manifests out of nowhere.
Amount of energy if not.
You see? I didn't even see it cast anything.
Drain a large amount of energy if not.
Yeah, what the heck?
Avoided. It's identified by an expanding energy zone that matches the same effects as the unit and an audio cue when it's placed and when it's detonated.
Okay.
The units themselves now appear shrouded in a void-like energy that manifests around their body.
The purple void? What was this? Destiny? Never mind.
Next up, we have Guardian Eximus units.
Okay.
Currently, they produce a radial
They look badass.
shield charge pulse for allied enemies in range.
Uh-huh.
Now they have 3 rotating shields that fully block incoming damage on themselves and
Punch through. Use punch through.
can also create a similar visual effect on nearby allies that applies a damage reduction buff on them.
Hold up. They mentioned a lot of Warframe abilities and some status effects not being able to affect the Eximus. They didn't say anything about Magus Lockdown. I'm gonna test that. I mean, it counts as some sort of stun and a CC, like Ensnare. Watch them change it. It's like, oh, we gotta add Magus Lockdown into the resistances.
Shoot through the gaps to damage the unit.
Was that Matter-Eye? Yeah, that's Madurai right there. You can see that 1000%. And that's a Shraxoon against a level 80, dealing 120,000 damage. Interesting.
Next up, we have Leech and Sanguine Eximus units.
Sanguine.
Currently, they have lifesteal on damage, whereas now, similar to their energy leech counterparts, Leech Eximus now spawn health leech zones, which will tick away at your health if not evaded, and also heals.
I would have liked something different. I mean, we already have the energy leech kind of looking the same now. It's just a red version of it, but it steals health. Would have liked something else, like an aura that surrounds them. So if you get close to it, well, that's when they're gonna drain. That would have been a bit more interesting.
Nearby enemies. Leech Eximus units now glow red with a pulsing vortex of energy.
Pulsing vortex of energy. Ah, yes, we love the pulse.
Moving along to Shock and the newly added
Whoa.
BioElectric Eximus units.
BioElectric? That looks friggin' cool.
That's right, Infested can now become BioElectric. Currently, Shock
Look at that.
Eximus units produce a small electrical damage over time area. Now they will spawn 3 electrical orbs that will hover in place for a few seconds, but they will deal increasing electrical damage around the unit before being released and honing in on the player. Visually, Shock Eximus units have mini versions of the electrical orb.
That's gonna hurt later stages. Can't wait for that.
Orbs orbiting around them, while they also appear to be covered and crackling with electricity. Next up, we have Arson or Caustic Eximus.
Wait.
Next up, we have Arson or
That was cool. That was friggin' cool.
Caustic Eximus units. Currently, they produce a Fire Blast attack that knocks down and damages enemies caught in the wake.
But you know what's a bit too much? DE, the particles. Just tone down the particles, please. I mean, we don't need that many particles. The effects and all, they're cool, right? They make the game look a bit more modern, but don't force particles. It's a bit too much on the eyes.
Now they're going to maintain a Fire Blast attack, but you can counter the Fire Blast by simply rolling through it to negate its oncoming effect.
Okay.
If you are hit, the damage is higher and it's a forced heat status effect. The Arson Eximus units themselves are now completely engulfed in a roaring flame.
All right. Oh, new voice lines? I like that. Oh, okay, there you go. You rolled into it.
Next up, Eximus units. Currently in game, they produce a small toxin area. Now, Venomous Eximus units become surrounded by a swirling volume of toxic.
Okay, so they gave that aura to the toxin instead of the Leech Eximus. All right. Makes sense.
Gas upon being alerted. Coming into contact with the gas will inflict a toxin status effect.
Oh, I like how much of a threat they are.
It's also worth noting
they're
that only
running at
enemy
you.
melee units can become Venomous Eximus units.
Woo.
And finally, we have Arctic or Frozen Eximus units, which actually visually are not changing because they already represent their mechanics very well.
Makes sense.
As mentioned in our first objective when we talked about increasing the threat of Eximus units, we have also given their rewards a boost. Their affinity gained is now increased by 200%, and their credits in Endo are dropped at an increased rate. And there you have it.
So they said affinity gain. So this means instead of doing a Daro to level up your Warframe and weapons, we can do Telesto. Because Telesto on Saturn has a higher chance of getting more Eximus units than a Daro. I mean, Telesto is already good for leveling because, you know, Eximus units would spawn there, so that will give you a bit more affinity gain. But with this new update, that's a lot more XP. And we get more credits in Endo, so I guess that's good. Well, I was expecting a bit more than credits in Endo, but it depends. How much credits and Endo are we going to get? I'm going to test all these out when it launches. It's going to be a in-depth look at all the new things that are coming with this Angel of Zariman update. Stay tuned. Okay, a rundown of what we can do to fight against these Eximus. Number 1, Banshee Silence, ladies and gentlemen. You got it, Banshee Silence. Remember how much I was telling you about Banshee Silence and Steel Path? Well, here you go. Another reason why Banshee Silence is really damn good. Now, don't overuse it. You can always, mix and match. Then you have Zata's Whisper. For those who don't know how Zata's Whisper works, Zata's Whisper will be dealt independently from your modded elements. It will scale off your weapons damage, faction mods, power strength, all of that. And it's a separate instance of damage. Think of it like a Toxin Lash, but provides another debuff, especially with the bullet attractor. It will also help you out against Eximus units to get rid of their Overguard. But what are the other things that we can use? Well, we can attempt using Magus Lockdown since it was not stated there. Hopefully, it's one of the crowd controls that can actually still work with an Overguard active. It's wishful thinking, So if you were to use someone like Loki, you can still disarm them with his 4th ability. And there's Nidus's Parasitic Link. I wonder how that will work against an Eximus. Who knows? We'll have to see. And they didn't mention Mesa's Shooting Gallery. So I'm guessing that Shooting Gallery stun could hopefully jam their weapons, but they will not be affected by the blind. So hopefully they can still get stunned, because that's one of the main good things about Shooting Gallery. There's a lot of things that we have yet to test out when they actually launch. Magnetize. Oh my god, Magnetize is also another one. Interesting one. Anyway, guys, that has been it from this video. I hope you're excited for this Eximus rework. Unlike the 40-second Matarai, which is pain. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.